For over 300 years, we've pictured this moment the exact same way. A lone cellist, a single melodic line, and Johann Sebastian Bach, the absolute master of unaccompanied cello writing. The 6 cello suites are universally known as works for cello solo without bass. That's even exactly what's written on the title page of the manuscript of Anna Magdalena Bach. These suites have become like the Everest in cello music, the purest expression of solitude in music. But what if the image is incomplete? What if the cello solo idea that we've inherited is only one version of the truth? Today we're diving into an idea that could suggest that the cello suites may not have been as solitary as we thought. To understand the mystery, we need to step into Johann Sebastian Bach's world, getting around 1723, where he composed the suites. This was a court obsessed with instrumental music. Prince Leopold himself even played violin, harpsichord, and viola da gamba. Chamber music was basically everywhere, and all of it relied on basso continuo, a harmonic foundation normally played by harpsichord, organ, lute or gamba. In fact, during Bach's lifetime, the cello was considered primarily a basso instrument, supporting ensembles rather than standing alone. Even works we now consider as solo, like violin sonatas, flute sonatas or even gamba pieces, were often performed with continuo, even when the surviving manuscript looks unaccompanied. So the idea of a string instrument playing alone was not the norm, in fact was the exception, we could say. Now let's look at the manuscripts themselves. The surviving sources of the cello suites are copies, not Bach's autograph. The most famous one is Anna Magdalena Bach's manuscript, titled Suites a Violoncello Solo senza basso, without bass. But here's the twist. Musicologists have long noted that the manuscript has some ambiguities, missing slurs, unclear articulations, and no dynamic markings at all. This leaves an enormous interpretive space, and that's the kind of space that Baroque musicians actually filled with improvised harmony. Historical treatises from the early 18th century describe how the performers actually added chords, double stops, and even continuo lines to solo pieces, when appropriate, of course. And exactly because the suites don't have Bach's autograph, we cannot be certain whether senza basso was Bach's instruction or a later copyist assumption. Recent scholarship revisiting these manuscripts claims that the suites may have been compatible with optional accompaniment, especially in those movements where harmonic implications are unusually sparse. So, what would the suites sound like with accompaniment? Let's explore a few of the possibilities. One of them is with harpsichord continuo. A harpsichord could outline the implied harmonies, and that way the texture would be more rich without necessarily overpowering the cello. And the result? A more grounded, dance-like character, closer to other Baroque suites. Another option is with a plucked continuo instrument like the lute. This option would add warmth, especially in the allemande, courante and gavotte movements. And the other option would be a viola da gamba, an instrument that I personally love. And given Prince Leopold's skill on the gamba, this pairing is historically possible, let's say. I actually think that the gamba's resonance complements the cello's register beautifully. When we compare the cello solo version with the accompanied one, something fascinating happens. The suites suddenly bloom with harmonic depth, dramatic tension, and very special emotional color. With this, I of course don't mean that the cello solo version is wrong. It's that the music may contain two valid identities, one solitary and one collaboration. So, what have we uncovered? The cello suites were written in a musical culture where the continuo accompaniment was the norm, not the exception. Also that the surviving manuscripts are copies full of ambiguities and missing information, that Baroque performances encourage improvisation and harmonic realization even in solo works, and that there are some scholars open to the idea that the suites may have been performed with optional accompaniment, expanding, not contradicting, the understanding of Bach's intentions. This, of course, doesn't diminish the magic of the unaccompanied suites. If anything, it elevates them. It reveals Bach not just as a composer of solitary introspection, but as a master of musical possibility. Someone who wrote lines so rich that they can stand alone or blossom into something larger. So the next time you listen to the wonderful Bach Cello Suites, try to imagine the world around them. The rooms, the musicians, and the continuo instruments humming beneath the melody. Maybe the suites were never meant to be lonely, who knows? Maybe they were always part of the bigger conversation. And I'm so curious to know your opinion on this topic, so please let me know in the comments what you think about it.